Alright, here we go. This is part 3 of what if female deku was Mosquito Girl. Now, from where we last left off, I believe we left off where, after the entrance exam, they were headed to the house. As they would head back there and continue training till they got the results back from UA. As in this training, they'd mainly be training their physical bodies, but also they'd also be training their willpower. Because if they do end up encountering somebody with a brainwashing quirk, they would need to be able to break out of it in order to beat them if they end up being brainwashed. As All Might would come out from the house, as he would see that Izumi and Saitama were training. As Saitama would, not Saitama, All Might would say that they got their letters from UA. As they would both immediately head inside and open them to get a message from All Might himself, as it would say that All Might had gone in, that they had both gone in to UA getting the highest, and they would both be in class 1A, and that they're welcome to their hero academy. Now, just so you know, Toga won't be going to UA, but she's not going to be a villain. She's actually going to Shiketsu High. So that's where she will be going, not UA. So you guys will have to wait till the provisional license exam arc in order to see Toga again. Though they might meet up sometimes. I don't know, it really depends on how I feel that the story should go. Anyways, continuing. With Izumi or Saitama being very happy that they made it into UA, as they would then be preparing for when they actually get to UA. As once the day arrives when they go to UA, they get into their UA uniform, as they would then immediately head out with Saitama, just speeding all the way there, as Izumi would be flying closely behind him. As Saitama would make it to UA about a second before Izumi, with Izumi immediately landing down on the ground at UA. As I believe, UA does have, I don't really remember if UA does have hold on, give me a minute. I was just checking to see if UA had a specific type of tree, but it didn't, so I'm just going to improvise. As Izumi would land on the grounds of UA, the wind produced from her flapping her wings would cause the leaves to pick up and sort of like swirl around her, as she would then end up landing, with the leaves slowly falling down. Saitama would walk up to her, as he would then say, "You really like to do these dramatic entrances, don't you?" With Izumi saying, "It's not that dramatic. This wasn't as dramatic as the one I did in junior high. That was embarrassing." With Saitama immediately thinking to that, they'd say, "Oh yeah, didn't you slip on a puddle and then fall down?" With Izumi looking at Saitama with glaring at him, as she would say, "Do not tell anyone about that, okay? That is a secret you and I take to the grave." With Saitama saying, "Sure, whatever," as they would both head into UA. As they on sorry about that. As they would head to Class 1A. With them arriving, as Saitama would say, that's a pretty big door, with Izumi saying, "Well, of course, is in case people have gigantification quirks." With Saitama saying, "Oh yeah, you're right." As they would both enter the room, open the door, as they would immediately see Bakugo and Ida arguing, with Ida spouting about how him putting his feet on the desk is disrespectful to the pro heroes who came before them. As they as Izumi and Saitama just not wanting to deal with it, because Izumi just doesn't want to deal with Bakugo's stuff, and Saitama just doesn't care. They would head to their desks and sit down in silence. As a lot of the guys who did notice Izumi walk in would be thinking that wow, she's beautiful. As they sorry about that. They don't really notice the ring on her finger. Well, the blades that are her fingers. Because I don't know if I specified how the ring was. It's the ring part of it, where the finger goes into, was specially made for Izumi's bladed fingers. I cannot say that word. Bladed fingers. There we go. As it would be a couple seconds, and then Aizawa would come in and say, "It took you all way too long to shut up." Except for those two, as he would point towards Izumi and Saitama. Saitama, who's about half asleep, as Izumi would be grabbing Saitama by the shoulder and shaking him slightly to wake him all the way up. As I would say, "This is not good for a hero class. I am Shota Aizawa, and I am your homeroom teacher." As he would then say a thing about getting changed to go to the quirk assessment test, as Izumi and Saitama would immediately head down, as they would both begin to get changed. Saitama in the male's room, and Izumi in the girl's room, changing room. With Izumi noticing the hole, and so does Saitama. So they both come up with an idea, with Izumi sending in some of the mosquitoes to hollow out some of the inside of the wall, to the point where it's loose, and as all the mosquitoes would get out, as Saitama taps the wall slightly, that area where the peephole is be completely closed in, so Mineta can't peep through. As they would then get out into the testing area. Oh yeah, that's right, I didn't say the placements. Izumi and Saitama both tied for first place. As Izumi and Saitama would be tossed a ball, as I would say, the both of you got first place in the entrance exam, so you two decide who goes first. With Izumi looking at Saitama, as Saitama would say, as Izumi would say, well, we better save the best for last. As Saitama would say, yeah, I think that'd be the best idea. As Izumi would say, all right. As she would then walk up to the circle. As Izumi would then summon the mosquito that she has. Now, her control radius for mosquitoes has gone from 5 kilometers, like it was in the anime, to about 10 kilometers. So she basically has the mosquitoes there in the area to carry the ball all the way out, as they would then reach the 10-kilometer mark, as they would then drop the ball and then disperse. With Aizawa's measuring device saying that Izumi's ball got 10 kilometers, with everybody else going, and then we get to Saitama. With Saitama then getting ready to pitch the ball, as he would use his physical strength along with One for All, as he would throw it, as it would go into space, just like going right through the moon. As Aizawa would show the meter, as it would say infinite. With everybody else being surprised, as the other tests would go with Izumi and Saitama scoring the highest in them. As we would then get to the scoreboard, with Izumi and Saitama in first place and everybody else having their placements in canon, as Mineta would be in last. As, you know what, just because I need comic relief, I'm going to keep Mineta in. Why? Because I need comic relief and I'm too lazy to write my own jokes. With, as I was saying, oh, by the way, I was lying, it was all a logical ruse. With Izumi basically knowing this, and Saitama was sort of like panicking in some of the competitions, like some of the tests. But Izumi and Momo knew that it was a logical ruse. But Izumi forgot to tell Saitama. As Aizawa would say, alright, head back to class. So head back to class, as their school day would go as it did in canon. With Izumi and Saitama getting their stuff and then headed back home, with Bakugo running up behind them. Now everybody else is left at this point, as Bakugo would yell, "Hey you, freak and baldy," with Izumi and Saitama turning around, with Izumi saying, come on, Katsuki, you're really going to keep calling us those childish names? With Bakugo saying, shut up, shut up. How the hell did you two get into UA? How the hell did you two get into UA? I was the only one who's supposed to get into UA, not you two. With Izumi saying, well, let's go over all the reasons why we go into UA. 1, we're faster than you. 2, we're stronger than you. And 3, we don't have an egotistical attitude. So if you could kindly shut up, we'll be on our way. As Izumi and Saitama would walk off, with Saitama saying, wow, I didn't think you'd pop off at him. What caused that? With Izumi saying, oh, it's just years of pent-up aggression towards him. Now, many of you might be wondering, where is Izumi's brother? Izumi's brother is currently in Class 1B. Because due to Izumi and Saitama scoring the highest, both of them filled his slots. Both of them filled the slot for Class 1A. So Izumi and Saitama would head back home, as they would both as they would both head into their room. Now, due to them technically being engaged at this point, they're both sleeping in the same room to get used to it. As Izumi and Saitama would then fall asleep to be prepared for the next day. And that is where I'm going to leave this part off. I do hope you guys enjoyed this, and I will see you all next time with possibly Demon Queen. Alright, see ya.